I'm Melanie Trailer, and this is the first video I am posting for 2024, so Happy New Year. I hope you had a lovely December. So today I'm going to give you a sewing tour of my space. This is my sewing space and my fabric shop, so if it looks excessive, it's not me. It's a fabric shop and they take up a lot of space. Right, so let me give you a little bit of history about my sewing space journey. I started quilting in 2008 and I had a little table and a little sewing machine inside my laundry room upstairs. I stayed in that space for about, I don't know, 1 to 2 years. My stash outgrew what that space was capable of. I've always been obsessed with fabric. So from there, I moved into a spare bedroom, and I was in that spare bedroom for quite some time, years and years. And then the space that I'm currently in, this is the basement of my house, and it was entirely my children's space. So down here in our basement, we have the 2 bedrooms, 1 bath, and this fairly big living room type area, which they used as, you know, a playroom, a place for their toys to live. We had a sofa and a television down here, and there used to be a ping pong table at one time. So it was entirely theirs. When they got to be teenagers, they didn't use this living area that much. They mostly used their bedrooms. So I moved from the spare bedroom upstairs down here to this living area and took it over. They were not happy, by the way. And as they moved out, I took over their bedrooms. I opened the fabric shop in 2018, and once I did that, we just kept needing more and more space for the fabric shop. So that's kind of where I'm at now. I have these little pockets in the fabric shop that are mine for sewing, for, you know, quilting, things like that. But most of the space is taken up with fabric. All right, I feel like I should have this little talk first, that we're all so very different and we all like different things. And we all thrive in different types of situations, right? Like, for example, I cannot have too much sitting around me. I get very, very overwhelmed. If I have 2 projects out at the same time, I get very, very flustered and can't work. It's the same way upstairs in my kitchen. If the dishes from the previous meal are all out, I can't cook the meal. So we're all very, very different in that regard. I know lots of amazing creative people's studios or spaces are just absolutely full, and that is what makes them at their best. And that's what they need. That is not what I need. So just kind of keep that in mind. If you are a person who thrives in lots of stuff, you know, go with it. If you're a person who can't handle that, that's fine too. We're all exactly fine, exactly the way we are. So it's gonna look to some of you like I tidied up, but I actually didn't tidy up at all, which makes me a little bit antsy. Like I wish I'd put these quilt tops away. You're gonna see it at its usual. You may see dust. That's something I'm not very good at doing. So you might see dust. So, but this is my space. This is who I am. This is where I work, and I'm going to show you the real deal. And I'm a neat person by nature. Again, I get overwhelmed. I clean as I go. I vacuum every other week. I probably dust once a month. So those are things that I'm really, really terrible at, but I am good at keeping things put away. So that's kind of what you're gonna see. All right, so I'm gonna pick up the camera, I'm gonna walk around and give you a tour of this studio, and I'm gonna stop every now and then on the places where I get the most questions from and kind of dig deep there. If I miss anything, if you have any questions, leave them right below the video. All right, so this is the view as you come down the stairs, you know, from the main level of my house. So this table is part of the fabric shop, and it has this really giant OFA mat on it. And this is where Wade cuts all orders, all bundles, all fabric cutting for the shop happens right here at this space. And And it is an old dining room table with just a really extra large mat on it. So nothing special there. Over here, this is where I store my personal stash. So the dresser is mine, although he does tend to stack fabrics on it. And then as we go up, you know, these are bundles for the shop. The TV, he watches TV sometimes as he does orders and cuts bundles and stuff like that. Football, golf, whatever. This is one of my design walls, and that is a Dresden quilt currently on it that we're working on in the quilt along. If you turn this way, there is a bathroom, and then it leads out to my garage. This closet houses all shipping supplies. The mini quilts were gifts from people over the years. I don't know if you were on Instagram around 2014, but there was always a swap going on back then. And so I always participated in those swaps. So that's where a lot of these mini quilts come from. That is an estate sale find. So this wall of fabrics is mostly for the shop. Actually, I take that back. It's all for the shop, except for maybe the top row where I just have random things stored. All these bolts are for the shop. This is where he keeps my books. So here is A Life with Quilts. This one is stash work, and I don't know what these random bits of fabric is. The journal, I'm actually not supposed to be touching this area. He does not like it when I change any of this space. So this is his doings, and you can kind of see, because if it was up to me, all of this stuff would be in a little basket. But this is the ruler he uses. I keep trying to buy him a new one, but he says that he doesn't like things to change. So anyway, he is caught up on orders though. All right, so that is that wall. And then we'll just come back over this way. All right, so let's come into this room. This used to be my son's childhood bedroom, and now it is the long arm room for me, but it also doubles as more space for storage for the bolts of fabric. This right here, it's actually pretty clean right now, but this is where orders that have pre-orders sit and wait for that fabric to arrive. So if you order fabric with a pre-order, we end up cutting your fabrics that you ordered, and then it just kind of sits here until the pre-order arrives. I keep these lights here because I'm always making videos, so this is kind of a storage area too, but this is where all of my patterns live. So whenever we sell a pattern, we just, grab it from here. So that's what that shelf there is, all the way to the top. And then there's another one over here with a different patterns. Let me just move this light. So more patterns, and then just fabric. These up here, I'm pretty sure these are bundles that are for sale in the shop, and then this row is for pre-orders. So we've got most of those out, so there's not that many right now, but there's a few. All right, so turning around this way, this is just some random quilts. I can't keep every quilt upstairs, so there's some quilts down here that don't get used as much, and sometimes I swap them out. This is a Little Miss quilt that I made in 2021. I've got it basted. I just need to get it quilted, maybe one day. Here is my long arm machine. It is a sit-down long arm, so I don't have it on a frame. I get a lot of questions about it though, so I thought I'd just kind of take the time to show you. This is not their prettiest table. I'm pretty sure this is called their folding table. I don't know that I'm 100% happy with the table, but it's a temporary solution for me right now. I love the machine. The long arm is absolutely magic, but I really do want to eventually get it on a frame. So I went with the cheaper table, assuming that eventually I will get it on the frame. So I don't like the way it, looks, obviously, but also it's just not big enough to hold a quilt. So I've had to add these kind of tables around. So a little hodgepodge system, but this is another folding table, and that way that when I'm quilting, it, has a place to fall. And then likewise on this side, I put this smaller table on for that same reason, so it had a place to fall. And then this, I just really, really needed that space for, things like the scissors, stuff like that. So even though I really dislike the way this all looks, this is actually a pretty good working system for me right now. Definitely the best I've ever had it as far as function. Again, I really want to get it on a frame and then do away with all these tables. But, in time. So that's this room. And just in case you want to know, this is the Bernina Q20 machine, and it does have the 20 inches of throat space. And it is a dream to quilt on, but I am still having to do it by hand. So it's fancier than a domestic, but not as fancy as, a long arm on a frame. Okay, so turning this way. All right, so back out of this room. And then we will look at this room. All right, so a lot of people always ask about the bricks. They were like that when we moved in. I don't know why it has that platform. I'm assuming at one time there was like maybe an electric fireplace, maybe like a potbelly stove situation or something. They are the bane of my existence. I trip over them constantly. I get my feet scratched up by them. They make the entire space difficult to have a different kind of furniture position. So I really, really dislike the bricks, but I don't know what to do about it. If we drill into them and get rid of them, then we've got a floor situation. And I don't even know if you can do that. So I don't know. I hate them, but I'm living with them. So that is the bricks. The kids loved this, though, when they were young, because they would get on it and put on little shows. It was like a little stage. Now it doesn't really have a purpose except to trip me, which happens probably once a week. Okay. This is my Arrow sewing cabinet, and I do get a lot of questions about it. So this is not fully extended. This is, just the partial extend. So I thought I'd take a few minutes and talk to you about that because, like I said, I get a lot of questions about it. So the reasons I bought it is obviously it holds everything. And then the number one reason I wanted it is because my sewing machine sits inside it. And then I have this nice flat surface to sew on. And does it make sewing easier? Yes. Sewing on a flat surface without that bump of your machine, it is easier to piece. I can't say that enough. It makes it easier, and I love it. And especially if you were going to free motion quilt or bind or anything like that, this flat surface is absolutely a dream to work on. You don't have to have it, obviously. You can just use a sewing machine sitting on a table. But like I said, this does make it easier. All right, so I'm going to link to this cabinet to show you a little bit about it. But let me just get everything pulled out. So this machine will actually push down and hide itself inside here. If I was to push it down, I could take this top and it folds over and encloses the whole area where you don't have to see a sewing machine sitting here. But if you want to use the machine, this side does have to be out and open. I don't particularly like this space. It's kind of a waste, and you see that I just throw things on top of it. I don't really have any real use for this space. I know there's a few people who reached out and told me that they really use that space, but I don't. My quilts hang on this side, so This is just kind of a waste, with the exception of maybe I could put, some things out. I do like this area. I like having a place just to, keep my scissors, things that I need to grab a lot. That this space is really nice. And this is, the door. This actually, if you folded this in, this side comes in and covers this area. But again, I just leave it out because this is a dedicated sewing space. So it just stays like this. Down here, it does have some nifty things, to hold things that I don't use a lot, or things that are kind of harder to store. But this is the underspace. And you can see how the machine, sits right below the surface of the sewing cabinet. It's adjustable too, so, depending on your machine, you could have it at different levels, whatever it needs to be. And then this glass, this is actually plastic top here. This is actually custom made, so when you order your sewing cabinet, they ask you, what kind of machine that you're going to put on it, and they cut this glass to suit. The only bad thing about that is if you swapped machines, you have to get another piece of the plexiglass. All right, so before I get to this side, let me just show you this side. This does not have to be out. This section right here goes flush against the back side right there, and then this can fall down. And so I could have, I wouldn't have to have this big, huge chunk out all the time. The problem is that if I don't have it out, I don't have a lot of room for chain piecing. So I always just leave it out. These pieces were added. These are called, I think these are called quilt blocks. And they keep the quilt on there, or they keep mostly my piecing, from falling to the floor, which is handy. I really like these. All right, now to this side, I keep, I change constantly depending on what I'm doing. So normally if I'm not sewing much, I keep it, closed just like that. So if I'm going to put the binding on a quilt, or I'm piecing my rows together maybe, then I open it. And then to open it, you just kind of swing it out just like this. And then you take the top and it flips. It's got this little feature right here where you lock it into place. And then you've got an even longer table. And like I said, I almost always have it out when I'm piecing the quilt top together, or when I'm binding. It also has this space right here. So this space also comes out. And then it looks, like that. So pretty handy. There's a lot of things you could do to use this for, but for me, I usually just use it for like draping the quilt on. So every now and then I'll be making a specific kind of quilt block, and I'll lay out my pieces here. But most of the time, I just kind of use it as a resting place for the quilt when I'm binding, or the quilt top when I'm piecing. All right, so it has these drawers, which, it's nice to store things. It's nice to have a place to store these type of things. So very handy. And then I've just kind of got some rulers down here that I don't use a lot. And I've got some quilt labels down here. There's nothing that you can really store in here if you're going to keep it closed. So I don't put anything there. Now this little area right here is kind of good for storing, I keep my manuals there. So I don't know what else you would store there besides the books. That is the sewing cabinet. So another reason why I don't pull this side out that much is because I have this situation, which is the reason I fell last week. So, you know, you just get to, and you just trip. So, again, those awful, awful bricks. To close it, you just kind of lift up just a smidgen and push, and then it closes just like that. And then you just, you know, kind of reverse everything you just did. So, just like that. So, pretty handy desk. I don't know why it doesn't keep closed. I really have no idea why it won't stay closed. All right, so let's see. That is my little heater. This is my computer area, calendar. Oh, let me just kind of back up for you to see all of this. Pegboard. It's my pegboard situation. This is where I keep all my patterns that are, you know, mine. And, the chair. I don't really keep anything in the chair. But Arrow Sewing actually sent me this. They sent me this last year, I think. And I had a really pretty white desk chair, which I loved. I loved the way it looked. But I would have never thought that this chair would be as comfortable as it is. But I wanted it because it reminded me of my grandmother's sewing chair. And that back, like, hits you right at your lower back, and it feels so nice. You think those big comfy chairs are everything until you sit into something that's, you know, made for sewing. And it is made for sewing, and it's perfectly thought out. So it kind of just hits right at, you know, your lower back, and it makes, you know, sewing a little bit more comfortable. So yeah, I really, really like it. Plus, it fits, well, if I was to move my knee lift, it fits. Let me go ahead and move that. It fits all snug, you know, in the space. So, pretty nifty. So, I don't think there's anything over here that's interesting. Let's see. Oh, so the Chase Lounge used to be upstairs, and we got some new furniture this past summer, and it doesn't fit. I really, really, really want it back upstairs because I love it, but I don't know how to arrange the furniture to get it, you know, looking good, because if I put it up there right now, it's too crowded. So we've just got it on the bricks for right now until we figure out what we're going to do with it. More fabric for the shop. Some quilting books, some stacks of journals, nothing important, just random personal items. My $10 thrift store find, gold chair. My daughter was furnishing her very first apartment, or maybe her second apartment, and I went with her to pick up a sofa that she purchased, and I saw the gold chair and had to have it. So, gold chair. Some more mini quilts. Let's go in here, and this was my daughter's room when she was growing up. So now I have another piece in here from Arrow. This is the Dingo storage cabinet. Storage and cutting cabinet, something like that. Anyway, it's perfect height for cutting, and I absolutely love it for cutting. I'm never fully happy with my pressing situation, but it's better than I've ever had it before. So half cutting, half pressing. I do like the height. I have to tell you that it hurts Wade's back cutting on that old dining room table. I've tried to get him to get a replacement, but he likes, you know, the size of it. But for me, when I'm cutting, this is where I cut all of my own quilts, and it's just a perfect height. I can't stress enough how just raising up the surface level made cutting easier for me. So this is the wool mat. That tablecloth is for, you know, protecting the table. I think I've got it taped down so it won't move. Underneath, I've got my iron. I got the reliable Maven iron. I can't say enough good things about this iron. It is dusty. Sorry about that. But it doesn't hold the water for steam inside the iron. It holds it in the base. So I never have any leakage, which was a very, very big problem for my first 10 years in quilting. That is my little pressing spray or starch alternative. And I realized that this isn't the cutest solution, but it works. So I'm going to, go with it. So another design wall, nothing on it right now. And then more fabric for the shop, solids. And then turn it this way, more fabric, and then more fabric. Bundles for the shop. And my Christmas cactus is blooming. Oh, it's almost spit though. But it was really, really pretty. And let's go over here. So this is notions for the shop. So I do rob this area quite a bit and then ruin the stock count when I forget to take it off the website, but I get in trouble for that a lot. So anyway, that is what this is. And rulers, I just keep the rulers that I use constantly right here where I can just grab and go. Inside, I've showed this to you fairly recently. This is just more stash, and it also has, my cutting stuff that I use a lot. Thread stuff. This is more threads. I got them on these spice rack things, which was prettier in my head. Turned out I have more thread than space, so it didn't end up looking really, really pretty, but it's maybe one day. I keep all my scraps down here. I just kind of throw them in this is a deeper drawer, so they just kind of get tossed in there when I have scraps. And then the rest of the drawers is stash. Let's see. Closet. I don't know how. Oh, it's going to be, it looks like it's going to be pretty decent. All right. The baskets are full of whips. So each basket contains one whip. So I don't have that many happening right now. I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. No, wait, that ain't one. 5, 6 whips. So I'm doing pretty good. Pretty good. This is our DMC collection for the shop. This is just, most of this came from Finish It class, and I've just kind of chucked it here, hoping to do something with it one day, and then, having not done it yet. Random bits that I won't let go of, but don't use. So they're there. More milk crates. The project boxes are pretty nifty because I keep, I keep what I'm working on. So I like to flip from quilt to quilt. I rarely start a quilt and finish it, boom, like that. I'm constantly flipping, depending on what you want to work with. You don't know what you want to work on. So it's nice to have several going at one time. Looks like I've got 1, 2, 3 going on right now. Old quilt tops that I've either found or bought or what have you. I want to finish them, so they're there. And not very interesting, but there is my closet. All right. Yeah, so I think I've covered every bit of the space that I can think of. I'm not sure that I talked about my machine. Let me just do that real quick. All right, so the Juki It is not fancy, but it is a dream to piece on, and I can't say this enough. I have a separate video all about this machine. I absolutely love it. I have 2 of these. One of them is a backup in case I have to take this one in for servicing. I can't sew on anything else. So there it is. It does one thing, straight line stitching, and it does it really, really well. So there's no fancy stitches or anything like that, but like I said, absolute dream. These lights are pretty nice too. That one actually came with the tabletop, the sewing cabinet. I've got one in there too on the Juki, but I had to buy that one separately from Slimline. On the machine, I get lots of questions all the time about this light. Let me just turn the machine on. All right, so this is the machine without the extra light, and this is it with the extra light. There is nothing to this little light, but I get questions about it all the time. It is just, I can wiggle this around. Here is the light. It comes with the Velcro, I think. I might have added this, but I'm pretty sure it comes with it. And then you just kind of, you know, put it against the roof of your sewing machine throat, and then you've got, you know, extra light. So yeah, I absolutely love the light. It weaves itself around here, and then it connects into this box down there. I can actually disconnect it, like it will work without it being plugged in, but it doesn't work for long, so I keep it plugged in. So just a little bit about that. Yeah. All right, so that is my sewing space and fabric shop, and that's it. All right, so that is the end of this tour. I think it's fun looking into people's sewing space and seeing how they operate. We all operate so differently, right? And it's fun to see everybody's space, just like it's fun to see your quilt blogs. It's kind of the same thing. Like, everybody does something just a little bit differently. And that's what makes everything so interesting. If we were all the same, it would be so boring, right? So anyway, I hope you enjoyed this tour. If I missed something or you have questions about something, please put them in the comments right below this video or send me a quick email. And if you want to post a photo of your sewing space, tag it, #sewing space, and a shout out, and I will come and look at it. I'd love to see your space too. So again, thanks for watching. I will see you next time.